welcome to semester 2. This is week 1. All right, so last semester we learned all kinds of things on our ukulele. We basically learned our rhythms, and we learned how to read tabs, and we learned a couple of Christmas songs. Today we're starting on how to read standard notation in Western music. So what do I mean by that? Well, there are two types of music that have been written down in that we recognize. We recognize Eastern music. This is music that was written in the Far East, in the Middle East. They have a different tonal center, meaning that they have notes that we don't have on our instruments. And so they write their music down a little differently. Here in standard notation in the Western music that came from Rome, then spread throughout the rest of the world, is written on a music staff that looks like this. The staff has 5 lines. So you've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 lines, and then you have 4 spaces. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now this clef here is called the treble clef. In Western music, we write off. There are 3 clefs, but most people just deal with the treble clef or the bass clef, and there is a viola clef, but we are not. That is only used for that instrument. So ukulele is played on the treble clef. Treble clef instruments are higher frequency instruments, meaning that the sound that they produce is higher in pitch or frequency than lower instruments. Ukulele, guitar, flute, saxophone, those kind of instruments, mallet percussion, those are all treble clef. Bass clef is bass guitar, tuba, trombone, euphonium, baritone, lower sounding instruments. All right, so now in treble clef music, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 notes that are on the staff. Our line notes are E, G, B, D, F. So we start from the bottom and we work our way up. Our spaces are the same thing. We work from the bottom, F, A, C, E. So we'll start with our spaces first. Those are easy to memorize or remember because it spells the word face. So I always tell my students what rhymes with space? Face, F-A-C-E. Now our lines are E, G, B, D, F. Historically, the most common is every good boy does fine. You might have Elvis's guitar broke down Friday. I prefer that one because, you know, I'm from Memphis. I also, you know, have heard, I had a girl once, a student, she said, every good boy deserves fire. And I said, well, that wasn't nice. And she said, don't worry, no one's getting hurt. I've never met a good boy. So, I mean, everybody has one. You can come up with your own. The problem, the reality is just we need something to remember that it's E, G, B, D, F. So now, what in the world does that translate or make us look to? All right, so we have our first 5 notes, C, D, E, F, G. We can look here on the staff, all right, and notice, all right, that C, of course, is our open string from Grover Cleveland. So that's our C note. D is on the 2nd fret of that string. E is on the 4th fret, or if you see, it has options, or it can be the open E from Eats. It's the same note. So E comes in 2 different flavors, or 2 different places. And then we have G, and it also comes in 2 different places. It can be on the 5th fret of the C string, or it can be on the 1st fret of the E string. And then we have G. It has 3 different places. 3rd fret of the E string, 7th fret of the C string, or the open string of Grover. So if we play this, C, D, E, F, G. Now I went right up this string and then ended with the open. So C, D, E, F, G, and that's what we'll teach you here in just a second. All right, then the next part, ABC has many, many options. All right, but we're just going to look at the bottom one. All right, on the Grover string, 2, 4, 5. Of course, it could be on this open string as well. 2, open, 2, 3. Same notes, but let's learn our C like this. All right, so this is the C major scale. A scale is when we play from one letter all the way up to its next letter. All right, 8 notes is considered an octave. We get that from the Latin word octavus. You've heard it as octopus because it's an animal that has 8 arms. All right, so the scale has 8 scale degrees, or 8 notes. So we start here, C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C. And then we want you to play it backwards. C, B, A, G, F, E, D, C. All right. So if you noticed, I wasn't paying attention. I was looking up instead of at my fingers, and I made a mistake. And that's going to happen this week. No one is perfect. All right. So go ahead, and when you play this week, if you mess up, say, okay, that's all right. You know, my teacher messed up. It's just part of life. The only thing we do is we just redo it and try it again. And so once you get comfortable knowing where these 8 notes are this week, because I want you to play it and say it. So when you play it, I want you to say the name of the note that you're playing so we can memorize where these 8 notes are. The next part is we want to learn about chords. If you were to ask Siri what a chord is, for Siri, a chord is in music is any harmonic set of pitches consisting of multiple notes that are heard as if sounding simultaneous. Okay, that's a big definition. Let's just put it like this. If we play more than one note at a time, it could be a chord. All right, now that's a really broad definition, but let's make it even better. It's multiple notes played at one time. So, reading a chord diagram, when reading a chord diagram, we must learn 2 things: how to read the diagram itself and to know your finger numbers. All right, so let's start with our finger numbers. Obviously, our thumb is not playing. So, our index finger is number 1, our second finger is our middle finger is number 2, our ring finger is number 3, and our pinky is 4. All right, so we'll use that over here in this big circle where there is a number. All right, but before we get there, we have to know where to put that finger. So in a chord diagram, up top is going to tell you what the name of the chord is. This big black bolded part is going to be your nut. Remember, your nut is the part of your ukulele that your strings are setting in. Then usually it's a white plastic thing.
I didn't understand this.
And then you've got your strings coming down here. The one farthest to the left is Grover, Cleveland, eats apples. And then each one of these little boxes is notating a fret. So if we were to play the C chord, we would take our third finger, go to the Grover Cleveland Eats Apple string, the A string, and go down to the third fret. So I take my third finger, third fret, A string, and then I'll play all the other strings with it. That is the C chord. So when you come back next week, I want you to be able to play the C chord and the C major scale, and to be able to remember that every good boy does fine, and F-A-C-E. All right, I hope you have a great week, and I will see you next time. Thank you.